Hello, I am Vleer and today I'm gonna do something different. So Celine made this for the real-time VFX sketch number 19 and ignore the too big the spikes. I was trying out something. But I asked her politely if I was allowed to try and tweak it to see if I can get more out of it and tweak some values and maybe learn a thing or two down the road. At least hope you learn something new down the road. So who knows? Well, there's a lot of things going on. There's an animated floor that breaks apart. We can actually show it in here. I think that's the one. An animation. Oh, and again with the freaking cam speed. There. It's F to focus, and there we go. I'm not too fond of the material, so I might replace that one eventually. And obviously there's the Grux doing his animation. I'm just gonna open the montage or whatever. There we go. And first off, in this tutorial part, I'm gonna edit those spikes. I made them a little bit too big on a re-import because Celine accidentally imported them with the size of 100 because I think her 3D application made them too small. So I needed to find an about approximate size, and this one is still slightly too big, but I can tweak that accordingly eventually. The first thing I did actually was re-import this mesh with a new UV channel. So I just went to unwrap UVW, opened the editor in the channel 2. There we go. And made a planar projection on the y-axis. X is fine as well, of course, but there we go. So I exported that and imported it back in, and because I changed the size a little bit, it's a bit too big, but I'll work with that accordingly. I'm first going to go to the material. I already made a glowing rock new, and basically just butchering the original glowing rock that Celine made. I made sure that I kept the dynamic parameter because that will be changing some values, of course. But besides that, I'm gonna try something new. I already re-imported, imported a lot of my own material functions, some texture samples for noise and whatever. So, okay, let's just start with actually previewing that mesh. I'm gonna select that mesh, press the teapot button so I can preview it. And if you press F, then it should zoom in, but for some reason it decided not to want to do that, which is really odd. I'm guessing that it still has a collision. Collision. Where was that option for show collision? Bounce, etc. Nothing too important. For simple collision, that one is really big. Let me delete that. Okay. Save. Now if I press focus in here, it shouldn't do that anymore, but obviously it does because today is, let's crash and do some annoying things. There we go. I have to reload it. So Celine was using a texture coordinate with 2.2 for the details and the texture, so I'm gonna set up those properly. Alright, that looks like a nice spike. And now I want to do something with that flame. I should actually open that particle emitter so you can constantly see what's going on. So now we can take a look at the effect in here, and as you can see, that glowy effect is fading in and then moving out. I want to do something a little bit more stylized-ish, playish. I'm not exactly sure how to call it, but let's just start somewhere. I'm gonna get a texture coordinate node, holding down the U key, left mouse click, and if I press Shift C, I'm getting a component mask. There we go, and I think I'll only need the second texture coordinate node, and I need to preview this. And I'll probably need the green channel. And the top is black and the bottom is white. I kind of want it to be the other way around, I think. Actually, no. Black is where there won't be any super glowy effect, and the bottom will be where the most of the glowing effect is. So that's kind of good already. But I want to move that up and down, so I'm gonna grab an add. A on the keyboard, left mouse click, and an append vector. You don't really need an append vector because I'm already masking it afterwards, so let's just delete that. And actually just use a debug time sign to see what's going on. A debug time sign just goes from 0 to 1 to 0 to 1 to 0 to 1. You can see it's doing something, but I want to have a little bit more control over that. I'm just gonna lerp that, linear interpolate, hold down the L key on the keyboard, left mouse click, and you'll get it. Instead of 0 to 1, I'm gonna see what 2 does. 3 maybe. It's not doing much, so let's go to -1 in here. There we have it. Okay, this might still be 1. Alright, I don't need it to go all the way to the top, but at least now I have some control. Let's see. What else can we do with it? Should we already clamp it to like ODA 5 or so? 0. Minus ODA 5. Okay, that's about right. So I might actually want to make that fade in a little bit stronger, but we'll get there later on. So now I need a nice texture to fade in an effect for it. So that's gonna go to my own textures. And let's see for a noise texture. There are quite a few, some might look better than others. And since I have a lot, sometimes it's just annoyingly hard to find a proper one. So fire might work because it's getting hot. But in this case, let's just go for the one I tend to start out with, just so that I have a basic understanding of what's going on. And that's this noise mask that I always use. Plug it in. Multiply that together and preview that. I want to have a little bit more detail, so I'm gonna texture coordinate node that and just tile twice more. That looks quite nice, though it needs a bit more animation effect, so let's grab a penner. And let's make it move up and up a little bit. Now speed X is on the X-axis and speed Y is the Y-axis, so I is up and down. And let's try ODA 5. There we go. Doesn't need to be perfect, it just needs to add a little bit additional glow. Might reach the tiling a little bit more later on, but for now this is fine. And let's grab the very orangey color that Celine made for now. And just that multiply color width. There we go, and for now just plug it into emissive color and stop previewing so we can actually see what's going on. It looks okay, but definitely needs a lot more oomph to it. Now, how could I do this? I mean, this is a rock that's coming out of the floor that's going to be really hot. I could make it darker, bottom, make the bottom always glow a little bit. That could work, but since some of the parts of the meshes are actually always under the floor, that might be annoying. And generally, I do like that crispy effect that there's to it, but I kind of want the bottom to have a little bit more. So let's see what we can do with it. There are multiple ways to make that bottom part a little bit more bright. You see it now fading in and fading out. You can just add it to itself and then saturate it so it never goes under 0 or above 1. And that gives you this, a much stronger gradient. That should help already. There, now obviously if you multiply this color by a insane value, which eventually will happen, then you'll get something like this. Might be overkill at the moment with 200. But it gets the job done for now. We might tweak it a little bit more later. Move that overly bright of stuff. And I do want to make the bottom a bit darker than the rest of the mesh. I'm actually gonna move all the things that I don't need to touch that much to the right side. That way the left side is nice and clean, so I can plop down everything I want. And actually get that same texture coordinate node with Shift C to component mask it. Actually no, because I need channel 1, sorry. There, I'm gonna move these down a little bit, and I need to check the green channel, preview to be sure, into 1 minus it, preview that, and now the bottom part is black. It's nice. And I'm gonna actually multiply that with the base color. I'll probably lerp it out a little bit or clamp it so it's not fully black at the bottom. It does give a little bit more depth to it because the bottom is a bit more dark. We can offset it, of course, just like we did with here with an add. Move it a little bit up and down, whatever we want. This seems fine, though I do want to see what it looks like if I add and saturate it. We can also multiply it, of course. But let's see what it does. For previewing. Now the bottom is a bit more white, the bottom is still dark. I could live with that. Alright. Let's clean it up a little bit. You can just use the arrow keys to move nodes around. There. I want to zoom in on this thing. Not sure why there is an alpha, but we'll check that in a second. It's a very grayish texture. There's only a little bit of brown. What's going on in the alpha channel? It also has a noise texture. I'm wondering if she actually used that for the original one. Let me double check. There's actually no usage of it, so it's unused at the moment. Which means if you disable the alpha, we actually save some resources. So let's enable all the colors again and just disable the alpha. We go from 5 megabytes to 2.7. So that saves a little bit. And you could set it as just a grayscale, but a little bit of detail is nice. So back to this one. And what can we add to that? The way she adds that noise is probably through this node. Through a power and then fade it in, fade it out. That works, but I think there might be a better way to do this. Power is a little bit of expensive. If you can avoid it, do it, but don't have to worry too much about it, of course. I'm actually going to see if I can grab that texture out of here and do something else with it. So I'm going to multiply that red channel, which she uses, red channel, yeah, and invert it. Preview again. And see what we can do with it. Then again, the power might actually work, but I want to do something else with it than just fading it in. So how often does she power? There's a mask here. Isn't really showing, so I need to check the particle system. Dynamic. And she's using the mask for it. And I want to throw my phone away. For some reason, after the last update, I cannot disable the zzz vibrate function. Okay, go to mask, and she goes all the way to 200, then 70, 120. So, who knows where we end up. If you hold down the E key and left mouse click, you get an exponential node. Let's try that. And review a value of 200 or so. Okay. Oh, apologies. You should be there, you should be there, and I need to preview this. Let's see what works. 50. That looks okay, so I'm gonna make that menu a little bit bigger. I could work with that. So let's try some other values, see what we get. 100, that's very weakish. 200 is even more weaker. Let's try 20. Too much. 50 is almost right though, 75 maybe. That could work. So just in case, I want to see if I have a texture that works. Noises, let's see. It's all more liquidy, watery. It's too stylized. This one could actually work, perhaps. There's only one way to make sure, of course, and that's to try it. So I'm actually gonna grab a few interesting ones and just try them by dragging and dropping them in. There. And just see what we can do with that. See what it looks like on the mesh. Now let's grab a texture coordinate node real quick. And this doesn't look too good. Let's try the next one. Preview. This might work on UV1, but I wonder what it looks like on UV1, so I'm gonna check that real quick. And yeah, obviously the sites will mess up in that preview, so I don't think it's worth really pursuing that, though we could add some additional detail to it, but we'll get there later. Let's just live with it for now. I might want it to be a bit wider though. But there's darken. Let's try this. Quick. Let's try darken real quick. The moment is just a testing phase to see what we can do with it. It doesn't look too good. Let's plug it in, those two into this one and preview that one. Also not happy with that. Let's try the blend overlay mode, which sometimes gives good results. We might have to tweak the power now though. Let's try 50, 25, 30, 35, 40. That could work. So what happens if we actually add this? Oh, there. Do this for now, just to see what it looks like. There's some nice scratches, though it's a little bit too bland. Let's try some other values real quick. 100, 10. I'm not really too happy with that. Actually, real quick, I'm gonna preview each channel separately, see what we can play around with. So with all the channels being almost the same, don't think there's a lot of detail we can grab from it. So let's play around with these values a little bit. I'm not really happy with what the power does as well, so let's see, what can we do? Sometimes it's guesswork. I mean, generally I would make a separate texture for this, but I kind of want to adhere a little bit to Celine's work. And I'll play around with it a little bit until I get something that I like. Actually, might want to just multiply the out blend overlay end result. Let's see what that does. Multiply. And then multiplying that. It's like a factor of 10. See if that works. 5. I need to saturate it in a bit, but let's see. This could work. Does need a lot more detail though. Let's see. Right, a little bit of other values again. And that's 17.5. Okay, now we're gonna move this a little bit to that, and I kind of want to try and add this effect to that. So add this there, plug this into the saturate, and see the result. As you can see, there's some additional glow going on in those cracks now, though it's going from black to white because of the way this is multiplied. We're actually gonna use a lerp for this. Let's see. I'll preview it real quick. Obviously, we want that there. We might want a little bit. Oh, Control C, Control V. A little bit yellower, more reddish color. I think yellow will work. There. And then plug that in here. Let's see if that works. Now it doesn't look aggressive enough, of course. The way it's fading in, the emissive power, I need to tweak that a little bit more. I'll probably go with like 1.5 for here. And I'll tweak those values a little bit later. Let's try 1 real quick. Come on, load. Thank you. Yeah, I was afraid that would happen. might need to unwrap it once again so that all the edges are aligned with the bottom. But let's get that general glow effect working the way we want it before we add all those other stuff. So the playing around part is almost done-ish. We have the normal map set up, of course. We still need to set up the dynamic parameters and some other things. But let's do each individual part now properly. We don't really need to touch the base color, though we could invert the masking we are using for this fire effect and make those a little bit darker initially so that they are showing up a little bit better in here. But for that we need to make sure that all the glow is working properly. So I'm gonna move this out of the way for now and finalize all this. Make sure that debug is not working anymore and it's set up with a parameter. But okay, first let's make sure that that initial core glow here is working properly. You can always do some other things later on. I'm gonna remove that from the add, of course, at the moment, and basically use that to make this lerp work. I'm gonna remove everything, just cut it apart again. And then for now, just gonna make sure it's saturated and preview that value. Now we want some motion in there, and since we already have this thing, we can just use that. If you want these to be smaller, just press the arrow button, that way they are this size. It can be annoying to not see the colors, but sometimes it's just nice to have this clean. I paste that texture sample here and plug in the red channel. Let's preview that motion. And overall, generally it is fine, though there's this one edge. We can take care of it, but I don't think you'll really notice it once it's in that noise. So I need to preview this one, of course. And we might want to have the bottom color be a bit more red. So like 0.05, okay. There, maybe you need to make this smaller or bigger. It's just a little, and probably this is me being we call it in Dutch an endfucking. Adding so much little details that might not matter in the end, but I do like to have a little bit more oomph to it. We could even push it even further. Let's just do it, because why not? Get a bump offset. And let's see. Put this here, plug this into the coordinate. Oh. And then grab the same texture. And lerp a value -0 to -5 or so, I'm not sure yet. And plug that into the height. It might not look like much, but if you actually preview it in here, there's some additional depth to it, but it's not worth it, I think. Let's try -20. As you can see now, there's some weird waviness going on. But it might not be visible in all those small cracks, so it might not be worth it. As usual. There is a little bit more depth going on in here, but it's not worth all the additional instructions, so let's not go there. Just plug this back in. Delete. There. And I think we can live with this. So I do want the bottom to be a bit more red than the top. So guess what I'm gonna do? I'm gonna grab for more component masks. Where are you? Component mask, there we are. Actually, this one might already work. Let's see, this is only for the bottom, right? It isn't, but we can adjust it. So we are gonna need this one. I'm gonna put this one here. We might need to remove the one minus and preview it. And we might need to move this to the bottom. So apply to you. Now I'm gonna add to that UV so it's actually much lower. 0.5 minus 0.75. A little bit more. 825 maybe. 0.875. There we go. Oh, minus 0.875. I think I can work with that. Then just add that here, and I'm probably going to saturate afterwards. Why aren't you properly adding? Wait, it's probably getting a negative value in here, so let's try it like this, and then preview here. There we go. So this added value ends up being quite negative. It's minus 875, and it's going to add minus 0.875, so it's a very negative value. By saturating, you're making sure that no value goes under 0. That way, once adding, this doesn't get like calculated away. And the bottom part should now be a bit more red. I should preview this again. Just make sure to previewing it here. And to be really sure, let's make this like a very bluish color for now, for a second. And see what it does. You can see there's a little bit of a bluish hue at the bottom. And that's what we want. Need to invert the color, of course, again. And we might end up being something like this. Just a tiny detail. And you don't really need to, especially for some effect at large, but if you want to go all out, sometimes those little details really add something. I mean, you can tell that the bottom is a bit more red than the top. Could even go as far as make this one a little bit more yellow. And that could work. Now we could already add some emissiveness in this effect if you want to. And I kind of like to do that. I mean, the red one needs to be much more glowy than the bottom one. So I tend to already multiply the color that needs to be brighter with a value so that there's some additional coolness in there. I do think that the panning is going a little bit too fast, so let's go back to 1 for now. And we might want to have another texture sample for this. I'm going to set the sampler source to shared wrap. That way it's a little bit more performant on AMD GPUs. And let's see if we can find another interesting texture that might work. Maybe a bit too chaotic. I'm actually got everything here, so let me actually show you. Let's grab that noise mask real quick and see what that does. It's a bit too chaotic, I think. So we might get away with it if you make it smaller. And preview the other end again. There we go. I'm not really fond of the way it moves left and right though. I might need to unwrap the initial one. So let's do that real quick. See if we can get something more out of that. Unwrap, open UV editor. And let's see, this is the bottom part. That's just totally useless for us. And we need to rotate this. This is the top. This is the bottom. And we might be able to get away with a little bit of texture stretching by this a little bit. Doesn't need to be much, but just enough to make the bottom parts all align a little bit better. And while I do this, I just realized that there's a normal map that I'm messing up this way, probably. Let's double check. Selene, meshes, actually textures, where are you? Materials. And there was a normal map, right? Yes, there is. Though it's a bit oddly aligned compared to initial mesh layout. I want to preview that on the current mesh, see what's going on. I expected that already. So I haven't tweaked that first UV channel yet. And there's this going on. That's rather odd. In that case, we might be better off just throwing away that normal map altogether. So I'm not too worried about that. I don't need to keep the ratio there. So it should be alright. We can always tweak the UVs. And if this isn't really anything important, we can just move it here. And call it done. I'm gonna export it again. And then gonna import it again. Meshes, re-import. Double checking if all the values are correctly. Import all. Save all, save selected, etc. etc. And now this should be mostly going upwards. That's much better. There's a little bit of distortion going on, but nothing to be too worried about. And I keep forgetting that I need to review the multiply. Everything's moving up nicely. I might end up doing the reddish color a little bit less reddish. And there. And while we are at it, I kind of want to see real quick what this looks like if I add a simple turbo smooth on it. And it does look a little bit more rocky. Let's see. Separate by smoothing groups. Is this worth the hassle? It does look nice and clean, a bit more spiky-ish, I guess. Wish you could lerp between the turbo smooth and the one, and just pick the one that you like. Let me think real quick. Is it worth it? It might be. We can do a real quick test. I'm gonna just export select it. Yada yada error. I don't care. And re-import it. And successfully not re-imported it. Just in case. Okay. Collapse all. Export selected. Re-import. There we go. And in the particle system it now looks like this. And for that few additional polygons, I can live with that. Now keep in mind that my material is not applied to this effect yet. We should get there soon, I hope. Let's clean it up a little bit, because I have a severe case of OCD in these kind of things. And there. Okay, I can live with that. There, so we have this glowy bit that's working. And we have this thing that needs to eventually fade in and fade out the whole thing. So, there, there. I know it's really boring to see me just moving nodes about, but I can't live without making them look clean. I'll live with that then. Okay, so this part is in, and then we have this fade in effect here. And actually, let's see. Is that whole effect? I'm thinking real quick. Well, not thinking real quick, I'm thinking really slow actually, but I need to check and see this result again. I'll probably flatten the bottom later, though it's not really needed. I kind of want to see what it looks like if I add this. Do that and see the result. I expected as much. Not worth to pursue. I do want to add something additional to the bottom though. And that's basically this whole thing. You might want to check this here, preview. That looks fine. I'm gonna grab this same setup, I think. Actually, I'm gonna... Oh, come on, I want this to be multiplying, previewing. Yeah, let me just remove this real quick. Do I need... I can actually I'm thinking I don't need this to be separately fading in. I can probably use this. So the debug timestamp can go away. And I can just give it like a low minus 0.5 value here or so. 0.25. That could work. All right. Does it look better with this material? I don't think so. This looks fine, in my humble opinion. There we go. Remove that. Obviously, clean up this a little bit because I want it to be readable. That's the main reason why I always do this. And then let's see if I just add it to here. And while this is okay-ish, I'm not really too happy with that look yet. Let's see. I'm gonna preview this. Actually, previewing this. And I need to make sure that this is 0, else it's hard to see. I should be able to add that after this add, I think. My memory serves right. I'm previewing. Let's see what that looks like in here. That's because of this, of course. I keep forgetting about this part. So again, this is useless. I do want the bottom to be a bit more permanent reddish. Let's see which one we can use. Let's try that one. And then in here. Review again. That could work, so I'm not really happy with this texture. So I need to find another texture for this real quick. And again, there are quite a few. And something with a general noise might work, but I don't want to use too many different textures in one material. So, never mind. Let's try this one again first. Maybe you just need to scale it a little bit. Banner, let's try on 1. I'm not sure. What if you actually just remove the banner for now? You know, that actually looks much better. What if you do like a very low movement? You probably won't notice that in such a fast effect though. But it's only one instruction more for that movement. So for now, that's fine. I might be able to simplify a lot of the math that's going on here, but this should still be quite simple. There, looks better. You can move the saturate all the way here. There. One up. A few down. And a bit to the right. And this part goes here. And if I stop previewing that, I can actually align that wire properly here. And preview it for now. Now we want to fade this in and out, of course. And for some reason there's some greening going on now. That might be because of these colors probably. Multiply, add. I need another saturate here. There we go. So basically what greening is like if you're going over a certain threshold with especially red, orangey values, then it goes back to green. Something that already happens in Unreal 1. So saturating that is actually giving that result back. There we go. Reviewing for great justice, and we can move this down a little bit like this. Okay. Now we should be able to fade this in and out. And that should be easy, because we already made something like that. So I deleted it probably because I thought I didn't need it anymore. Should be easy enough. I'm gonna grab this and there. So I'll probably move it over here. Multiply those values already so we can see what's going on. You can see it's only the bottom now. And let's do a time sign. This is regular, the same as the debug time sign, just a little few more options, so don't worry too much about it. And it's slowly trying to fade in and fade out, but it's not enough. So, and if you remember correctly, there was something like -1 to -0.5, right? 0. Almost enough out of 5. Let's try 1 just in case. It's a bit more better now, though I want to preview it properly on this mesh. That should be enough. So now we actually have the emissive control set up here. And if we are able to preview that, I'm not too happy with all the additional samples here. I do remember that this normal map is not properly working. I'm actually gonna remove that one. We'll save something and get a flattened normal. And a flattened normal basically flattens a normal, but you can also use it inverted and actually get a more intense normal map. So preview that. And a flatness of 0 is just a normal map. A value of 1 actually makes it totally flat, but a value of -1 makes the normal much more stronger. And it's a little bit distorted, but it should be fine. Plug that into the normal. And stop previewing the flattened normal. And now you can see it's actually doing stuff. Okay, so you can play around a little bit with the specular as well. Spectacular, lol. Value of 0 makes it totally rough, and value of 1 makes it look much better. And sometimes that looks a bit better. Out of 5. It's just minimal, but there. Still need to use the dynamic node. This all can go for now. We might need an additional glow strength, though I tend to do that with some other stuff. Let's see what we can do for optimization. We do need the tension space normal map. We could try a fully rough, though. Roughness of 0, what does that do? It makes it nice and... Come on, load! Maybe a bit too reflective. And a value of 1. Actually looks good enough in my humble opinion. So roughness can go, and we just enable fully rough. Doesn't do that much to it, but anything else? It's gonna be mesh particles. It's not gonna use static lighting. Don't need automatically set up stuff, and I don't need light map directionality in the mobile version. This saves a few things. Still a bit too... I'm not too happy with all the instructions, but base spec for the shader is fine. We don't need a full metric light map thingy, whatever. Okay. So this needs to be replaced by a fade in and fade out, and there are multiple ways to do that, but let's just use the dynamic parameter. And I'm probably gonna rename them, but instead of let's use the mask one, and I tend to want to rename it so for fade in there. because now I know for sure that it's fading in. And I could remove the lerp, but I prefer to have a 0 to 1 value inside of the dynamic parameter instead of a minus whatever value to a whatever positive value. I like to keep them very limited so I can have more control and I don't need to do all kinds of weird math. So as you can see, currently that value is really high and we don't need to go that high. So 0 shouldn't show anything, and out of 5 it should be about halfway. And at 1 it should be nice and visible. So let's do out of 5 for preview reasons. And the glow strength, I'm gonna do something else with that. So it can be 0 for now. There we go. It's a little bit of a mess, but it's fine. I say when I'm starting moving nodes around again. Press the C button, comment, glow FX. And we can move it about a little bit. And this one is actually very simple. Albedo. A normal map is fine, I think. And to be honest, I don't really care for the AO. So let's remove that. Alright, I think that's about it. There are too many texture samples, but we can change that a little bit. It isn't really as the same way it says here, but let's set every texture sample to either wrap or clamp. And since they're tiling, let's do wrap for that one, wrap for that one. Let's set everything just to wrap. It'll be fine. Okay, and that's a little bit less in the texture sample department. It isn't really like that exactly, but okay, I think that works. There are a few things I keep forgetting to do, and that's the particle color. I do prefer to have a particle color for reasons, and since we don't have any opacity to work that we need for this, we could actually use particle color alpha to fade in this effect. There. And the only thing we need to change color of is that effect in the worst case. So I'm actually gonna do it like this. Plug it in here. There. There. Now, some things will be definitely broken once I start using this new material. But we should be able to fix that rather well. I'm gonna grab that new material and plug it in here, and everything will be broken, as you can see. Somewhat. No. Okay. We're gonna single this one out and take a look at the dynamic. Right mouse click and refresh the module. Actually, we don't even need it anymore. We can just hide it and it should work. And we do color over live. There, we don't really need the actual colors now, so we can even just do black if we don't want any glow. Or use this, and then we have the alpha over live. As you can see, now they are just nice and black. And if you go to 1, you can see it slowly glowing in. So we need to mix and match it a little bit with the floor glow, of course. And 0.6 is way too slow. So try 0.4, 0.2. 0.3 comes close. Okay, I'm not really too happy. Well, though, yeah, it looks better. It's a little bit in the floor. I want to lower it a little bit, though we can still tweak sizes and whatever, so I'm fine with that. Now, we're not going to touch the color overlay here, but we can add a scale color overlay to scale some of the settings in other color modules. And it's still broken in 4.21. Great, thank you, Epic. Okay. Let's do a constant curve for the glow, and we can make it glow a little bit more at the beginning or at the end. Let's see. At the end, it should just be 1, I think. There. And if I insert another one at ODA5 that has like a glow of 3, much more glowy. And if you want, you can actually lower other values to make sure that the red one is a bit more visible. And I think this looks a little bit more aggressive than just having these 2, 3. You can see the yellowish is a little bit off. I could tweak it in the material, but for now, this works. I do think that that glow at the end might be a bit bothersome, but should be fine. He's actually using an array of a lot of bursts. It does give more manual control, of course. Okay, let's check the initial size. Tangents and whatever in value. Let's see. How would I do this? I would probably use a direct location that constantly changes over time and just spawn more and more that way. So this gives much more control. I'm wondering though, I'm thinking what I would do. I'm gonna duplicate one and play around with that. So instead of this way of spawning, I'm gonna remove them all. I'm actually gonna change the initial location, though I do think that it's changing. I kind of want to see what it does if I do just 20. So that works. I need 10, and obviously it's spawning. I do like a bit more spike. That's nice, though. We need to make sure that it ends way before this, so let's set it to emitter duration O.5, see if that works. Maybe O.6, 7. Okay, O.6 seems to be about right. Let's do O.55 just in case. There we go. Okay, that's too much in the spawn rate though, so let's do 20. Make it even lower, 15 maybe. 12. 15. Okay. 15 is still a bit too much. Let's do 12. Okay. Another thing I want to do is actually add like O.75 maybe. Should probably be already be 0 again. Let me double check. It's almost right. Let's try just 1. O.9. Okay, and I want this to be a bit more curved, so I'm gonna actually click on the curve, get the curve editor, disable all the ones I don't need. Small buttons are small. I hope that changes. And in this case, we only need the alpha overlay. I'm gonna control drag and over them. And again, the DP scaling thing is broken. And just do it like this. And that should fade in a little bit more gentle. Okay. Now the initial location is okay. There's initial mesh rotation. It just rotates a little bit on the Z on the x-axis. That is fine. I do want to play around with the size though. I'm gonna try and finish this part off and then call it quits for today because it's quite a long video already and I need to do a lot more. Okay, velocity life, that's just for making it move down. Initial size, and that's fine. Starts out small enough. I think we can actually make this maybe a little bit bigger. Like 0.25, 0.25 maybe. It starts out a little bit bigger. That's better. And let's see, the out value at 0.3. Let's make this like 10 for now. It's already at 0.3. I'm not sure. Let's see. Now we don't get to see the 10 though, of course. I wish this value was a bit bigger, but again, DPI scaling. So I only want to see this one. I should probably disable. Already disabled. Okay, let's see. At about 0.6 they are done. So now the thing with these spikes is that while they need to move out fast, they shouldn't be instantly this big because it looks a bit weird. I mean, I'm actually fine with the last few spikes being this big, but let's do some size by life. Size by life. There. This is going to be a bit fiddly. We need them to be invisible, very tall, normal size. Then after a few seconds, it should shrink a little bit more. Okay, quite a bit. And it's going to be hard to set up. And I wish that these things would at least have another value, but we cannot all have what we want. So 1. There we go. Can at least see something. And there. So I want them to be a little bit taller in the beginning. So 1, 2, 1, and then I need to make sure that this is the same value, else they start shrinking again. Okay, that seems to be about right. And I need to tweak these values a little bit. So maybe this would be 0.5. And this should be 1. It just needs to be have that moment of like the you know, that spike that just pokes out. It just adds a little bit more life to it, a little bit more motion. It's not super realistic, of course not, because it's Earth. It shouldn't do this, but it just gives that little bit of, you know. You could even go as far as actually just making these like 0.9, 0.9. And it also gives a little bit like it's squeezing a little bit. I'm going to slow it down so you can actually see it properly. You know, it's actually getting back that size. Now, because it's going to be a little bit taller, it's going to be stretched, squeezed a little bit. And that way, when it's moving back, it's actually fading to the right size. And that way you get this. And for the spikes alone, that should be enough. I want to see what it looks like inside here. Okay, I understand now what's going on. The lifetime is a little bit too long for the spikes, so I need to make them a little bit smaller. But I think we have something nice here. Let's see, it's almost 5 o'clock. I have like 15 minutes left. I can fix that a little bit. We change the initial location. Let's see, all the way to Y1500, and it shouldn't get there. Let's try 1000 less 900, 800, 750 maybe. That might work. Still way too far. So this one works. The hell? Okay. 15 initial size is a little bit. 10 is way too far, so 5 might work. Might also change the scales a little bit. 1.5, 1.5. And 2.2 makes them a little bit more spiky and less thick. I'm wondering what's causing the difference in size. There's no other thing instead of besides the initial location. And that should be on the y-axis. So the y-axis should always, oh wait, there we have it. 800, there. Might need to check it and see it in game. Okay, we can go a little bit further, but only a little bit. These values should probably be almost the same, so let's just do both 850. And I kind of want to see it up close for a second. Okay, eventually the glowing things need to be a bit more tweaking, but that's really for later concern. The base is in. I want to do a bit more with the floor, but at least we're getting somewhere. I do like that cam shake. And I want them to be a little bit thinner at the end. We can still do that real quick. So let's see. I want a 2.5 and I want a 2.5. Make them a bit more spiky-ish. And there. And the color of life, we can use that alpha a little bit better. I actually add another one, candle, and at 0.75 it should still be 1, and at 1 fade out. It's already going down quite fast, so might need to tweak those values a little bit. Might need to go 0.5 with this, and 0.75 here. You can tell that the lifetime is a bit too long, maybe. 7.5. That looks a little bit better. Let's try 0.55 here. That could work. And let's try to make this much more glowy for a second. Like 100. We do want to make that glow faster though, like this. Maybe even faster. And this could probably be 0.7. Oh, 0.65. I want it to cool down afterwards again. 100 might be a bit too much though. Let's try 50. Okay. It's a good start. So as you can see, the spikes are moving down at the end, and depending on their angle, that doesn't look really good. So what I want to do is actually probably try and remove the whole velocity of life, and then just let the size by life take over. And that should probably be about 0.6. There. 0.5 maybe. And generally we might actually want to go with 0.55 being 0.9 again, 0.9 and 1.1. Yes, and then add another one. Collapse everything again because yay for new things adding that I really don't like. And then just there. We might, yeah, that might work. Need to see it in game. Or well, in the content prep. Here. I might want to tweak the sizes a little bit in the end still. But we have something interesting going on. I want to add a plane just underneath the cracks for additional heat emissiveness, and I want to add a light to a lot of load to it. And what else? I want to do one last thing real quick. And that's the color of life, the alpha. Let's try 0.75. In slow motion, it should look like the spikes are already coming and then becoming hot. And in my opinion, they should be allowed to be a little bit higher. So initial location. Let's try minus 50 to minus 60 for now. That's fine, I think. And minus 40, minus 50. That way they are a bit higher. The glow will hit the floor a little bit better. That could work. It might be cool to have a secondary version of the spikes that have just a lot of smaller spikes. That might be fun. I'll probably tweak the fire so that the fire goes through it a little bit faster. And add more stuff to it, but for now, this is okay. I do have like 1 minute left on my schedule. I want to make sure that the top never gets reached. So let's try ODA55. ODA5 then still. Okay. And then slowly grows. And a normal speed that's like, I'm not sure. See. Now I can tweak these values a little bit differently so that the first ones actually heat up faster than the other ones, but I think this will be enough. I kind of want to make sure that the tips stay black because that's the coolest part. So just having the heat grow a little bit and then slowing down might work. Okay, 30 seconds left. One more preview time. I want it to start a little bit higher. 1 second. I put it 2. Yeah. That way it means that we could actually remove this one maybe. That could work. Gonna see if the lifetime is better looking at 3. Okay, this is a good begin. I might work more tonight, if not tomorrow, and we'll see where we get. Alright, I'm gonna leave some links to Celine's work in the description and some other links, and I'm gonna upload this real quick. Boom. Alright, that's it for now. Take care, have a nice dinner, have a nice day, and bye bye.